you and me, we spoke when you joined the club a couple months back. What's the impression now of the players a couple months after working with them and seeing them week after week?
Yeah, I suppose it's been good. Haven't been able to spend the last maybe 6 or 7 weeks, I think it is, with the boys. We've been in a gym session down in Spears Gym on a Friday night on a regular basis. We've been in 2 nights a week training as well on a pitch session. So you're getting to see a lot of contact time with them, getting to see the different parts of their game. We're also playing on a Saturdays or Sundays with Ulster Senior League, so you're getting to see them in competitive league games, which is a real bonus and unusual for a pre-season or assessment phase of selecting a squad to have competitive games. So really getting to know them as people as well, which is important. Getting to know their personalities, watching them just interact with each other, watching just how they carry themselves in and around training and games, and their attitude towards the game. They're a good bunch in terms of they all want to be senior footballers. There's none of them that are just here because it's easy for them or it's handy for them, or they have a desire and a will and a dream to kind of play senior football. So there's a good group of boys there, and at this stage now we're in pre-season prep for League of Ireland coming up in mid-March, and we're just working towards that.
We're talking about the pathway and the academy going into 17s and 19s and so on up to seniors. How many 17s from last season made the 19 squad, and what do you think of their ability, their attitude? Are you happy with what was given you and how they progressed through the academy?
Absolutely, you can see the benefit of the 17s. So we have about 8 or 9 of the 17s have made the last year's 17s have made this year's 19 squad. So the U2s, there's 2 of them that haven't, and that's through their choice rather than us not selecting them. And it's to do with this year for some of them is a big year school wise, and if they have a distance to travel, it just makes the logistics of it very, very difficult. So 2 lads that haven't come in are 2 talented boys that will hopefully maybe come June when their school commitments are over, we'll be able to bring them in. But the 2002s are at a decent level. Some of them in particular are at a very good level at the minute. There's 2 or 3 of them that I can think of at the top of my head that if you didn't know, you wouldn't notice that they're O2s playing a year down at 19s. And I think that's always a good thing for the O1s, that they don't rest on their laurels, and they know that there's O2s hungry to get game time, hungry to get minutes, pushing them on, and so that's important as well, as it is for the O1s to show some level of leadership to the 17s coming through. I think the interesting thing about this squad is that because of the dual age bands, these boys were together 2 years ago, and then when the O1s come up, then it was separated a wee bit, and now they've come back together. There's already a kind of closeness about this group. They know each other quite well, which is always good. You don't have to begin to gel this group together. They know each other and they know their personalities and they know their kind of game style, so that has made things a whole lot easier.
Tommy, speaking of the Ulster Senior League, you're obviously the manager for the 19s and you have a lot to do with the Ulster Senior League. Are we going to see more players in the Ulster Senior League side as well as the first team?
Well, I suppose we've already seen some of the under 19s from last year pre-Christmas move up onto all these pre-season plans and get themselves contracts, like Stephen Doherty, Kieran Farn, even Patrick McGarvey's been up training with the first team on a regular basis as one of the goalkeepers. So that pathway is already kind of showing some fruition. In terms of going forward, the Ulster Senior League, we've been using it as 19s for pre-season, which as I was saying earlier is really so valuable, because usually in pre-season you're looking for challenge games which never really have the same intensity as a competitive game. So you're getting to see the 19s play against a lot of ex-senior players, a lot of men that have played Irish League and League of Ireland for many seasons, and they're matching them up against them. So you get a real kind of sense of where these boys are in terms of their pathway to senior football. going forward, whether or not we get players from this 19's current squad into all these plans for 2020, possibly 2021, it remains to be seen. You know, it's a case of providing an opportunity for these boys, providing an environment where they understand the culture and what's expected, what's required to be a senior footballer. So you give them that opportunity, and it's up to them whether or not they pick that up and run with it. There have been some of them in and around pre-season games, current 19s. There have been some of them in and out through training, but there's a system in place now which I kind of was happy to hear that Ollie is allowing me to select the players that should be with him. So he would request 2 or 3 or 4 for a pre-season game or for training, and the people that I think are at the level required at that point to be able to at least kind of not bring down the standard of senior training are the people that are being sent in. So it varies from week to week or fortnight to fortnight depending on what's required.
You brought in Desmond McGlinchey and Aidan Gallagher. What do you think they add to the Beckham staff? Desmond McGlinchey obviously was under-12s manager in the academy, was lately appointed Ulster Senior League as well. Someone you'd know from the past?
Desi's somebody that I met a few years ago at one of the coaching licenses, and I hadn't met him before that, but kind of instantly we developed a bit of a relationship in terms of helping each other out on the coaching license, and so that's kind of where I got to know Desi. Spent a week with him in Belfast a few years ago, and then I knew that he'd come to Hearts to the academy working here. And I think when I was offered the job and appointed, I could have, and I had the freedom to bring somebody in that hadn't been around the club, but I think it was important to bring somebody that was already within the academy. It gives a wee bit of continuity. It helps me in terms of Desi has his finger on the pulse of the academy. He knows the people that are around it. He had a good grasp on the players, O1s and O2s as well. So it was important for me that Desi was part of the team. And as assistant manager, he's been invaluable so far. Desi's a good coach. He knows how to run a coaching grid. He has a good idea of the game. He's reliable. He's committed. He's in it for the right reasons. And so, Desi's great to have about. I'm really happy with how things are going with Desi. Aidan Gallagher is somebody that I've known for quite a long time. The last time I was with Van Hert's 19s, Aidan was part of the staff then. He was a goalkeeping coach then, and we've always kept in touch since that, even though we went separate ways. He's been developing his goalkeeping academy, and I've kind of gone on to do other things in football. But we had Luca originally was here as part of the team for 19s. Then Luca received the job at 17s head coach, which was brilliant for him, and so that left us a bit of a gap. And Aidan was the first man I went to. Aidan's a good coach. He's good with the goalkeepers. He's good with the boys. He's a great asset in terms of his personality to the group. And so, between ourselves, between the three of us, we'll hopefully deliver a good environment and culture for the players they grow in.